time of year that we're honored to have leadership Madison County come in, and I'm very fortunate, I think, for the last 14 or 15, 16 years to serve as day chair, and we love to have you all. I hope you learned a lot. We used to try to go to the different departments, and now we bring them to you, so you get a 10-minute PowerPoint, so you can kind of get an idea of what goes on in county government with all the different departments. A lot of people really don't understand all the things that we take care of and all the things that we do for the whole county. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope they were very informative. And at this time, we'll go on and get started. We've got a not too bad of an agenda, and we need to get to Berea sometime or another this morning. So we'll go on and call the meeting to order. Kenny?
Master King?
Here.
Master Barger?
Here.
Master Hughes?
Here.
Master Combs?
Here.
Judge Clark?
You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes or discussion, motion would be in order to approve those that submitted in your packets.
So moved. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Treasurer's report. We have our finance report. Glenna Baker is our treasurer today, and she's going to go over that for us.
I handed out a report, and anyone who would like a report or anybody that's watching on TV, these are available in the judge's office. So it's public record. Anyone who would like one can pick one up. I handed out the report as of 7/31/2012. Our total fund balance was $5,516,515.28. Our fund balance on 8/31 is $4,835,002.55. Some of the fluctuation is back and forth. CSEP had a really high balance at the end of July, and it has gone back down, and that's just when the money hits and when we pay the bills out. We also have to pay our liability insurance, workers' comp, all that this time of the year, so that's the reason a decrease in that. Around this time of the year, we should be around 16% of our budget. That does fluctuate because a lot of times we get a big portion of our revenues in at one time. It's not throughout the year. Road Fund sends their county road money 60% in August, and then they send 30% in January. So we get a big check at one time that lasts us for a while. Our general fund revenues at this point are 28.2%, and our expenditures are at 13.4%. Our road fund revenues are at 47.6%. Our expenditures are at 11.4%. Our jail fund revenues are at 22.5%, and our expenditures are at 17.7%. A little of that's due to we bought some cameras, and the jail has already reimbursed the jail fund for that. The commissary is reimbursed for that, but it raises the percentages up. CSEP fund revenues are at 8.4%, and expenditures are at 7%. 911, the revenues are at 13.8%, and our expenditures are at 11.3%. We currently have the auditors working in our office right now. They'll be finishing up next week, and we'll have that out. So do you have any questions?
Any questions for Glenna? Not everything looks good. Everything, all the expenditures are under where they should be. Glenna doing a good job.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going into order of business now. I'm going to briefly explain this to leadership and the court. We have an obligation, according to KRS, to maintain a jail. The jail is very, very, very expensive. Costs continue to rise. They continue to rise. We are not fortunate that we're growing so fast in Madison County, and our population continues to rise as more and more people come in. With that, there are more prison population over in the jail. Doug's here today. Doug Thomas is here, and Doug's our new jailer, and he's doing an outstanding job trying to manage. We have a 192-bed facility, and Doug averages about 280 or 290 in a 192-bed facility. So you can imagine what that's like trying to manage and take care of all those individuals. So what we've been looking at is alternatives to help out with the cost of the jail. Last year, it was about 1.1 million out of our general fund, and we really don't bring in a lot of occupational tax money, a lot of net profit money like the cities do. So we have to watch it real close. But to take $1 million out of your income to supplement a jail is tough. So Doug has been working, he's been upgrading, he's been doing a lot of things, and Doug came to me, and what we're looking at with the House Bill 463 was they laxed, they allowed more things than they ever allowed before, as far as doing things with the jail. Class D felons, which a Class D felon is somebody that can go out and work every day, and they come in, they stay all night. So what we're looking at is maybe the possibility of building a 40 or 50 bed Class D felon facility, maybe behind the jail in the parking lot, where we could free up 40 or 50 beds. And I'm going to let Doug talk more about this. I'm just kind of bringing you up to date. Because state prisoners, once 5 days after they're sentenced, then we start drawing $31 and something, 32, say rounded off $32 a day. Well, with our overpopulation, it's hard for us to keep state prisoners, and those are the ones that create income. So what we're looking at is freeing some beds up where we can keep our state prisoners and create some income to get that deficit that the fiscal court pays the jail down. So today, Doug is here with Brad Black with CMW. Brad's kind of a prison expert. He's done them for years and years and years and years. And what I've asked is for them to come give a little proposal to the court. This is nothing in concrete. All I want to see is if indeed the court's interested in maybe going forward with this. We didn't want to spend any money. We didn't want to go anywhere unless the court's interested in looking at a 40 or 50 bed facility for Class D felons where the requirements aren't near as stringent as the jail. And we could get them out, and they go out and work, come back in, and free up 40 or 50 beds that we could keep paying customers in the jail. So Doug, if you and Brad would like to come up and talk to us a little bit. Katie?
What we discussed it earlier. We talked about the being overpopulated and losing our monies that we receive from the state, because we have to send out the state prisoners. And what Katie and Brad and I have done is sent in a request to Department of Corrections to possibly, we've talked about, maybe building something. And I spoke briefly, we mentioned that we need to do something, so got with Brad, and what we need to do is for us to look further where we need to go with the Department of Corrections. They want approval from the court. It's not approval to go ahead and start digging today or building. It's just an approval for us to go further and to see if we need to go this round is what we want to do.
Doug, if you don't mind, you or Katie, give us just some numbers of the state prisoners we lose and how much they bring in a year, and what kind of the cost of what we're losing every year by not being able to keep.
We've worked up some numbers.
Prisoners.
Katie's worked this stuff up.
Well, I just did an average of the population every month of inmates that we have, and it goes anywhere from 312 to 207, but we sent out 364 state inmates within about 15 months. The total dollars that we lost, which it's variable, it's hard to say whether those inmates that we sent out would have stayed 3 weeks or 3 years, so it's hard to really get an exact figure, but within 15 months of sending out 364 inmates, we lost about $178,000. If we keep one state inmate for 365 days, that's $11,000 for one state inmate per year. So with a 50-bed facility, if we were able to keep that full for 365 days, we could produce $571,955. If we were to build a 50-bed facility that housed only state inmates and keep that full all year round, it'd be about $572,000. So that's quite a bit of money to bring into the county, you know, in addition to what we're already bringing in for getting reimbursed for what state inmates we keep. So if we could just obtain the overflow of state inmates without sending those out, it would really help in the cost of the jail, and it would also pretty much offset, plus possibly have a little extra revenue for the county as well. And Brad has worked up an expenditure and revenue for like the salary and the operations costs and things versus what we would bring in for housing those inmates. So if Brad wants to talk about his workup.
Thank you. Like the judge was saying, that the House Bill 463 has changed things a little bit with what the counties are allowed to do, not allowed to do. And like Doug had mentioned, we have to get approvals now. In the old days, you could, if the county wanted to do something, they could just say, corrections, is it okay? And they say yea or nay, and you could do it. But it's changed now. There's a whole committee, and the state gets involved, and so that's why we're coming to you today, maybe earlier than we would have in the past, because we have to get certain approvals. With the facility that Doug mentioned, 40, 50 beds, and the judge mentioned, the nice thing about that facility is that it's a commercial construction. It's not detention, penal type construction. So it's a lot less expensive. In fact, one of the things that could be done to help with the costs is the judge had mentioned how some of the county employees are very good at doing certain things. So maybe some of that work could be done by them. Some of the counties, even with these type of facilities, use their inmates to do some things, you know, so especially the finishes. But if the county folks can do some of the other things, like laying footers, that type of thing, then that helps save some money. So that's the good thing about this type of facility. And that's not to say that you don't still have to have over and above what maybe house construction would be like. Like you have to have an emergency generator. You have to have sprinklers, things like that. But it's still much cheaper than the type jail facility you have here. One of the things, like Katie had mentioned, we did was went over the cost of operating a 50-bed facility, the possible cost of construction, and then compared that to the revenue that could be brought in. And what we found out was you'll be a little bit ahead of the game annually. In other words, the revenue you could bring in would meet and maybe be better than what the expenditures would be. So that was a positive thing that we found out. But in a nutshell, that's my part of it. And we did do a sheet that I can pass out if the judge wants us to kind of show the expenditures and the revenues.
If you want to do that, Brad, and give us just a roundabout per square foot cost of doing one of these facilities versus a jail. I mean, you can't build a jail anymore. It's $300-something a square foot.
This type of facility, just the construction cost now, and there's other costs associated with it, but just the construction cost is about $120 a square foot. The construction cost of a jail, a full-service penal type facility like you have over there, $365 a square foot. So it's over 3 times, you know, what a jail is over what this type of facility is. And like I said, with the jail, it's hard for the county to get involved doing any of the construction. This type of facility, the county can get involved somewhat, to whatever degree you feel you can do it. So that takes money off the cost of construction as well. But basically, for a 50-bed facility, you're talking 5,500 to 6,000 square feet. And like I said, multiply that times $120 a square foot. But on top of that, you have some other costs. You're going to have some site work because of where you would put it over there. It's in a paved parking lot. You'd want a fence around it. You have to have an emergency generator. You have to have some sprinklers. So, and then you're going to have some payment of some things that you might not have to have for residential construction. Things like special inspections. Anytime you do a detention facility, no matter what level it is, housing and building will want to get involved, and they require certain things. So there's some costs there. Of course, there's going to be the fee to the architect to do the drawings and the specifications. There's going to be a fee for any unknowns that you might get into with the soil. So there's things like that. But overall, when you're talking about incarceration, this is by far the least expensive way to go. If you have those type of facilities can keep it filled, which you do, which are the minimum security type folks.
Well, Brad, we're very fortunate in Madison County that we have, and Leroy runs, we have our own construction crew. We do all our bridges. We save about 30–40%. I think we've done 6 bridges in the last 2 years. We build all our buildings. I mean, we've got all the forms. So there's a tremendous amount of this work as far as footers and flooring and concrete work that we could really do ourselves and get that cost down, I think, under $100 a square foot.
And if you could do that would be wonderful. And those are things that if you decide to do, certainly the documents can be drawn up to show that.
How many other counties is doing this?
Oh, in the past, a lot of counties did it, but with this House Bill 463, it's such a new thing, and because that House bill is also letting inmates out or not even locking them up like it used to in some cases, counties are hesitant to do much. I think they're kind of waiting to see what happens. But Madison County is one of those counties that just is growing, and the needs keep getting greater and greater. Some counties are like that. Probably most of them aren't.
So you're looking at roughly 72,000, is that what you, is that 70, excuse my voice, I'm sorry, I'm hoarse, 72,000, is that about what you figured?
For the total construction cost?
Yeah, not counting the other stuff that you were talking about.
700,000.
700,000, I'm sorry.
It'd be more in that range.
Is this metal or block building that you base that price on?
Well, it wouldn't be metal, it would be the exterior could be cement board, could be siding, could be brick facing. The inside, probably metal stud, hardened gypsum board. Some places you'd want to use concrete block, like the restroom areas, so it'd hold up a little better. But those are all things that are easily done if your forces can do those to try to save you some money.
How many state prisoners we have right now, Doug? Just
79, I think.
79. And the rest of them's just
Rest of them's waiting trial county. And we have 79 state. And our population today is in the 290s. I'm sure the exact number. And I do a population report every Thursday to the Department of Corrections now. Once they see that they'll allow us to be a certain percentage overcrowded. But if I send in a population report at 290 people, they're going to come back probably Friday or Monday and take 20 or 25 because I'm that much overpopulated. State.
The thing we have to look at is it's going to be cost-wise. I've heard people, why don't you go out in the county and build a jail? Well, tell me where in the county you're going to go out and build a jail. Who's going to want a jail next to them? We're really limited in space. We've looked at alternatives far as going up, and it won't work on this facility. So I think we really need to look at the land we've got over there and what can we do to alleviate this overcrowding problem. And, you know, this really gets it started because, you know, we're going to be 103 to 105,000 in 2020, and as people come, more crime comes and convicts come. So we've kind of got our hands tied. And to me, especially with the House Bill 463, that, you know, that they've opened it up to where they're giving counties some leeway. They're letting us work a little bit more than they used to. We looked at this about 8 or 9 years ago, and the cost was just astronomical. But now you can use a lot of different materials in this, and like Brad said, you know, your bathrooms and stuff. Doug and I have talked. He feels like that he can take care of the food from the kitchen in the jail. So it looks like maybe one of those opportunities that it wouldn't hurt to proceed with a little bit and see if indeed we could make this thing work. Because we've got to do something. We can't keep 290 people in a 190-bed facility. And this would, you know, this would alleviate 40, 50 of those people out of there, and then open it up for what Doug needs on people that can't go out and work.
You know, I got to say, what we're talking about doing is putting a Band-Aid on the problem, because we in Kentucky it's a big problem. It's how many of them people over there is there because of drugs?
80%.
All of them, and how much time they spend in there. When they get out, what's going to happen to them? I mean, does it do any good to even put them in there? The system doesn't work too good for the problems we got, and we just keep building buildings and arresting people and putting them in jail, and I think we taxpayers, we're taking it on the chin, and I just think the whole criminal justice system is
Mark, you want to
costing us
address
a lot
that?
of money.
Well, I kind of hate to because we're running out of time frame here. I don't keep statistics. I would say the vast majority of the people that are being detained right now have a drug problem. That doesn't mean that the vast majority of the people are over there on drug charges.
Yeah.
These are the people that are breaking into your homes.
Yep.
These are the people that are raping your daughters. These are the ones that are mistreating your elderly folks. So it's not just incarcerating people that are in possession of drugs. It's what the drugs cause them to do. So you just can't fault and say that we're keeping a bunch of drug addicts, because it's not nearly that simple. And at the end of the day, you've got to remember that probably the number one thing that you do is to provide protection for the public.
Till they get out.
Yeah, exactly. But until you get out is better than not at all.
But that's only that's our only option, is just to incarcerate, and that's a very expensive proposition. I don't have the answer, but I just know, and the problem's not getting any better, you know, as far as the drug problems, and we just having to build more facilities to hold more people. And is that the only answer we got?
But we are legally bound to do that by law.
You know, what I'd suggest is that I'm having a doctor tomorrow morning. Any of you all here, anybody here, drop in tomorrow. Have a look at what we've got. And then you decide which one of these peoples need to be, you know, roaming our streets, or which ones that we need housed. It's not anywhere near as easy as just making this a financial or a bricks and mortar kind of question. It's much bigger than that. And again, come by tomorrow, and you'll see all these very serious cases. And then
Everyone there needs to be there, and more than.
No question, Doug can attest that we spend probably more time trying to figure out who doesn't need to be there compared to who we need to put in. It's a very interesting dynamic between prosecuting and then advising the jail on these fiscal issues. But the reality of it is, we have a serious problem. And again, we can let every one of them out today, and by the end of the week, it could be fully in. But again, please come tomorrow or come any Wednesday, because every Wednesday we do the preliminary hearing dockets. We try to keep the most serious cases together so we can evaluate them at one time, and it's frightening. And for everything that you read about, for each case you read about, there'll be 9 others that you don't hear about that are equally as serious.
Well, you take what you got in jail now and what Jerry's got out on home incarceration, you're talking about 320 people.
Jerry's got 40 some odd, 42 out on home incarceration, so yeah, you're talking 330, 40 people.
I'll agree, Judge, that we need something, but I'm not, I don't like that approach, and like you said, it would probably be hard to find a place in the county to build something. Well, maybe we could work out something with Bluegrass Army Depot to get some land, build a 300-bed facility, bond rates as cheap as now as it's ever gonna be, turn this into a juvenile facility. Last month was $5,000, this month is $3,000, not counting what we actually owe Fayette County, which is $100,000. And we can take in outside juveniles. And
Well, you're not gonna do anything to the depot till 2023 or 2024.
well, there's land out there can be bought.
No,
Yeah, they are.
no, you can't buy it.
Also on the House bill too, it allows to work them as,
They all go, all the Class D, they got a job.
well, I'm
every
talking
day.
about as far as the county raising their own food, the prisoners. I mean, instead of them sitting watching cable TV and having all the comforts of life, it looks like, I know that they have certain protections, but I think as we're looking to build even a facility to house them, we ought to look also in a facility that they can get out and work and give back to the county as
Well, there'll be more be able to work. I have around 25 out right now. If we do something,
well, I know they out on individual work release for different governments and
Right.
things like that, but I'm talking about is cutting the food cost in the jail, getting out, raising their own food and stuff, earning their own keep. In other words, I know sometimes they don't have the means on their own out to do it, but as we as a government, as we look to spend money to house them, we ought to look in ways to spend money that they can give back to the community. And I know it's a short as we looking, but it's a big discussion. We take more than just this court this morning to look at.
Well, let me ask you this, because we do have to notify corrections if we're at least interested in proceeding with this, because they're not going to issue any kind of permits or authorization. Are we interested in looking a little bit further into this 40 or 50 bed Class D felon facility that will free up that many beds in the jail?
I'm interested in learning more about it and getting some more information. I am, yeah.
that's pretty much
Do
what we're
something.
doing, is just
That's what we're
looking a
doing.
little further into it.
Corrections needs to know if we're interested or not. That's the
Right.
bottom line. If we're interested, then they're interested because they know the problems we have, and they're very much interested in working with us, I think.
I think we have to be interested. It's their obligation to, but, excuse me, I choked up too, and Larry must have the same voice problems, but I don't want anybody to think that this might be a little bit of a moneymaker, because it's not. I mean, and I know we're going to be out the money. We're out the money now and have no choice. We've got to provide the jail. But I don't think it's going to be a moneymaker. I think
It won't make money, but if we can cut a deficit from $1 million to $500,000.
Well, here's my argument on anything we do. We've got a jail over now that's 20-something years old, and we just refinanced some of the money we still owe on it. So when we do this again, we're going to owe money again, and we'll be lucky to probably pay the interest and a little principal. So we're leaving a debt for somebody down the road, just like we've done already. We got to. I mean, that's just the way we operate. But I don't like to leave any more debt than I have to.
I think also too, we need to look at a bigger picture. I mean, it's hard to look at this, but to think about the cost that we're going to have to draw up the plans and all that. And we know that it's a growing problem, and we're going to have to hit it headlong one way or the other. And this 50 beds would just barely, I mean, it still won't get us down below the number that we should house now.
With home incarceration, with that new program, and Jerry, I think, they feel like that's going to grow maybe up to 75 people. So, we're looking at a lot of options. Greg, you feel good about looking further into this, telling corrections?
I feel good about looking into it, but I'd like for us to, instead of we spending a lot of money, on the blueprints of it, to look at the bigger picture too also.
Well, there really isn't a bigger picture right now.
I'm gonna give you all on that also here, just to show you a little that Brad worked up.
So we're looking at all operational costs, staff, annual debt service, inmate at 50 at 3134 a day. Revenue 601. Summary is, if everything goes right, revenue in excess of expenditures, about 166,000 a year, Doug. Correct, Brad?
And this is something, Judge and Madison, that we went over the other day, Doug and I'm sorry, and myself, the other day. And so we feel pretty comfortable with this. You see the annual debt service in there, and that's very conservative. I threw in a debt service there at like 5% for 20 years for $900,000. I didn't want to be too uncertain, I guess, and get you guys in trouble if you decide to do this. So this is very conservative, and we feel comfortable with it. And like I said, Judge, you know, bottom line, we can at least every year come out even. And that's like say.
Billy Ray, you want to proceed? You okay with it? Larry?
I just think it's throwing good money away, but, I mean, we don't have any other choice, and I understand that, but I think as a court, we need to prepare this county for 20 years down the road, not 1 year. And bonding rates are cheap. I don't know, maybe we can't find no place in Madison County. I probably wouldn't want it beside me either, but it's an opportunity for us to gain that money back over here on juveniles. And then if you build a 300-bed facility, you can keep all your state prisoners.
Larry, and I'm not talking about it, but the state's never going to let us keep juveniles. Never, ever, 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 ever. We kept them forever.
Never's a long time, Judge.
But they're set in regional juvenile facilities
Well, you
now.
may be right. I'm not disagreeing.
I mean,
with
I'm
you.
not
Yeah,
argu-
I
I'm
understand.
just-
I told Harold Bodner at that time, was the judge when we built the jail and I was here, that jail was not near big enough, and it wasn't. And as you know, and everyone else here knows, cost goes up. So does crime. Crime's going this way. It's not going down.
And we've added to it since I've been here.
Yeah.
So,
I
do
mean,
you
if you
wanna go
want to
on?
study it, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that, but I just think there's more alternatives. And, you know, with our discussion here today, maybe somebody here or somebody out that's watching this may have a better answer than we have. I want the safety, as Mark said, for people in Madison County. And I was all for home incarceration. And the reason I said I was is to relieve you of 30, 40, 50, ever how many we could get out, which looks like it's going to break even. We're not going to make no money on that. We wouldn't get in for money. But if it wasn't for that, if you make a crime, pay the time. That's my opinion.
I agree, and thankful that home incarceration it's working, you know.
I
We
know,
have
I
300.
understand. Yes, Judge, go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, let's go on and put this in a motion for corrections that, yes, Madison Fiscal Court is interested in looking further into the Class D felon facility. Is that okay? Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Thanks, Doug,
Thank you all.
Katie. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda, I think we can run through this pretty quick. I'll explain it. Second reading of ordinance 1211. This is a bond issue. We're refinancing 3 bonds. We had one when we built the new annex over here. Weren't really sure because a lot of it's free space, how we were going to pay for it. So we set it up on a balloon payment, and the spike, about a $3 million payment's due in '21. We don't want to leave that to anybody. So under the current rates, we can go from 4.448 down to 3% and reconstruct we can refinance 3 bonds, stretch it out through 35, I think, and not put a burden. The payment will be a little bit higher for the first 3 or 4 years, and then it'll drop back down where when we're gone, people that are sitting here can afford it and go on and get that paid for. Gil's here, the attorney, bond counsel. If you all have any questions for him, I think we covered this pretty good in the first reading. If there are any questions for anybody? If not, a motion would be in order to go on and approve ordinance 1211, and that's the refinance of those 3 bonds that really get us into a good financial shape for not only now, but for the next 20, 25 years from now.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next, we've got to adopt solid, thanks, Gil. Scott, is Scott here? Come on up, Scott.
You gonna read that book to us?
No, sir. This morning, I've got a resolution that adopts our 5-year solid waste management plan update. This plan is a comprehensive plan of the waste management and recycling practices that we have here inside of Madison County as a whole, including both cities of Berea and Richmond. I will actually be at the City of Richmond's meeting tonight to pass this same resolution. So what this resolution does, it labels the strengths and weaknesses of our solid waste management practices here in the community. Some strengths noted this year by the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, which consisted of both city managers, Mr. Howard Bowden and Alan Hatfield this year. Loan of trucks that we have are free large item pickup in the Richmond and in Madison County. Free dead animal pickup, countywide whole, our annual HHW day we have every year. Free curbside recycling programs in the city of Richmond and Berea, or city of Richmond and the county. Franchises in both cities, independent haulers are permitted in county, and the city of Berea also has 2 free cleanups each year. Those are just some average strengths of the plan. Some weaknesses: glass recycling in Richmond. Single stream program is not comprehensive across the county yet. That is in the plan to expand that program across. City of Berea charges for large items on a regular basis. We always have the continuing yard waste disposal question also. And also, we also note that their citations on litter are too few. These are just some of the highlights. I ask for the resolution to be passed.
Any further questions about Scott? Done a great job, Scott. Everything's just falling into place.
I make a motion. Accept the resolution.
Resolution 1214, Kenny.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a copy of this, Ken.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Next on the agenda is appointment to the Northern Madison County Sewer District. I'd like court's permission to reappoint Jim Rowe. Jim's chairman. He's been there since the day of time out at Madison Village, back in really in the 70s. They're doing a great job. Development's a little low, but they're hanging in and doing an excellent job with what they've got to do with running the 1 million gallon a day sewer plant that we were able to construct, and they're making it work. So this time I'd like court's permission to reappoint Jim Rowe as to the North Madison County Sanitation
Make
District.
that motion, Judge, but I'd like to see them come in and give us a report every now and then. I don't think they've been in since they come in and told us they need a little help.
Have it next meeting.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Next, personnel, and this is accounts receivable, clerk and receptionist with the finance department. As you all know, we've been understaffed, finance department, and the girls conducted interviews, and they've picked Deanna May Reimer. Greg, she is given notice, but I'll have her, once she gets to work over here, to bring her in and let her meet the court. But she's at work today, she couldn't come, but I'll make sure once she comes to work over here, she had to give a notice on her other job. But on the recommendation of Glenn and her staff, I'd like to hire Deanna May Raymer as the receptionist, accounts receivable. And I might want to note, Kenny, in minutes that she'll be working kind of without any benefits for 3 months, kind of on a probationary period to make sure that everything works out okay.
90-day probation.
90-day probation.
I looked at this, Judge, and I'm all for, hiring people when we need them, but I have a problem when we can't contact the present employer, and especially the work in the Treasury Department. The background research.
She's notified her present employer now, but when she was first filling out the application, some present employers don't take kindly to them looking for another job. So until she was sure that, we have that on a lot of applications. It's hard, if you've got an employer that doesn't want you to find another job, if you apply for somewhere and don't get it, I mean, they can hold stuff against you.
It works both ways, though. Sometimes you get bad employees because they left another place bad. And, have you called the present employer?
No, because it asked not to, but I did call other employers that were before that, and they all gave her good recommendations.
I think, Greg, she did an excellent interview.
Linda Ginter sat in with me on the interview, and you can give what you thought.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it wasn't just myself. We had multiple people sit in on the interviews.
I don't think they wanted to lose her where she is.
No, I think they're pretty upset.
I know you got her, but since you moved your office over there, you ain't having a lot as much traffic as you used to have as far as...
Still the phone traffic, yes, but not the foot traffic. Half of our foot traffic is just people stopping in the door to say hi. So, yeah, it cut down on a lot of that. But we still have people come in for their taxes. All the supervisors come in still, all that kind of traffic. But as for just the people lost in the hallway or the people that just stop by to say hi, because our doors are open, and every time anybody walks around the courthouse, and myself and Angels grew up here all our life, so we know a lot of people. As for that kind of traffic, yes, it's cut down on that.
I know Dwayne, a lot of the people was paying the permits and stuff in his office used to come out of your office.
Mm-hmm.
Did that relieve you?
Most of those pay by mail, so it's not. We have more phone traffic than we do foot traffic. Most of our traffic that comes into our office is supervisors, even before with the business licenses, and Dwayne's not in here, most of those mail those in. We have some that come in and pay, but the majority of them mail the application and the $10 in. As for the need for the position, I called both Richmond City and City of Berea and did a spreadsheet if you'd like to look at it, but City of Berea right now has 5 full-time people that do the same things that we do, except they have a smaller budget and a whole lot less employees. And they have 5 full-time people. City of Richmond, basically the only thing that they do different from us is they collect on parking tickets. So they have a clerk at the window down there, and they have a person that collects property tax at that time of the year, a part-time person, and they have 12 and a half people do the same thing that we do. As for their employees, they're within 25 of us. We pay about 550 claims a month, and they pay about 200 and something claims a month.
Okay, so on the recommendation of the interview crew, motion be in order to hire Deanna.
So moved.
Have a second? I'll second.
Master King,
No.
Master Barker,
No.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Combs,
No.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Could I go back and ask why? I mean, she passed the interview with flying colors. She was the most qualified individual to work. Could I get a reason why y'all not?
My reason that sticks out to me is not being able to contact the present employer.
Well, I can contact them. It's no problem.
I mean, as doing the interviews, it looked like that would be one of the main things you'd have on the application, that you have contacted them, and she, not to discredit her, I mean, she may be one of the excellent workers, but I just don't like on looking back at a present employer.
We have it on several of them if you look at it, but I will be happy to
Well, I
contact
brought
them.
it up on the other ones too, and I've made that purpose.
Roger, your reason?
We never get to see who actually applied. I have no idea who applied, how many, whatever.
We had 21 applications. 7 of them wanted more money than we were able to pay, so that they couldn't take less. We knocked those out. Linda Ginner and I, myself, sat down, went through all the applications who had the most experience, everything. We picked out 5. We were going to interview 5. One of the people declined because they didn't write what they wanted for their amount on there. When we offered to do an interview, they declined, so we ended up interviewing 4 people.
Larry?
What is the salary?
$24,000.
Based on 40 hours?
Yes, based on what we worked.
How much outside work do you do in the treasurer's office, I mean, for other departments?
For like the sheriff, clerk, water districts, the Madison County Utilities, and Southern Madison Water. That's the only people we do work for.
Are you reimbursed any of that?
No.
Not yet. We've
not yet.
talked about it.
Why do we do it?
To help save like the clerk, if the clerk on their health insurance and stuff, if we didn't let them be on our health insurance, they would have to be on state health insurance, which is way more expensive. And so that's going to cost the clerk more to pay the price of that. And so eventually it trickles back down to it's going to cost the court, because he's not going to turn in the amount of fees at the end. Same thing with the sheriff's office. If it's going to cost them more, then fiscal court is going to end up having to give them more in the end to be able to make it. The utility districts, they don't have a lot of employees, so it's just a benefit to them to help them get a bigger group insurance rate. They only have some of them 15 employees. It's hard for them to get a good group rate, and that's the reason we've always let them be on our health insurance. Now, they pay it, but we have to audit the bill and get reimbursed for it. I mean, get the money to pay into the companies for them.
Do you all do any work for the 911 or?
Yes, we pay all their bills, CSEP.
We take
We
care
do
of
get
every
reimbursed from
department, Larry.
CSEP.
That was a question.
Yeah, we do get reimbursed for CSEP. But when you said departments, I was thinking of them as being part of the fiscal court.
I'm not saying it's not justified, but it was just sewed on me all at once. I'm not saying it wasn't. And I'm not saying you don't need them. If you need them, I guess you need them.
I wish I had the sheet with me. I didn't realize I would need it, but both the City of Richmond has a director, then they have 2 assistant directors. They have 2 accounts payable people who pay out less bills than we do. They have 2 HR people. They have 2 payroll people. I do the payroll myself. Their director does not, they oversee, they don't do a lot of physical work. I have always done physical work. My job is not just sit over there and oversee things. I have to do the physical work of it, and we always have. When Berea only has a $7 million budget and only has 120-something employees, and they have 5 full-time people, and they just hired one on because they were short.
That still don't make it right.
No, I'm not saying it makes it right, but we do have that much
on their
work.
part, for all I know.
Well, Richmond has 12 and a half. I'm just comparing to
He's on
what.
their
They
part.
just hired probably 6 or 7 of them in the last 3 or 4 months. So.
Well, I thought we all agreed that Glenna had to have help, and that's the reason that we all decided, and I asked you all, that we moved over in the annex to give them more room, because she's working with 3.5 people. Didn't we all make that decision?
You never had that conversation with me, Judge.
I told you in your office that I didn't know that they needed the help. It had been proved to me that they needed help.
I guess I should have asked a long time ago instead of taking it upon myself to do as much as I do.
It would have been helpful.
I've just been trying to save the court money all these years by doing as much as I can possibly do by myself and not sitting back and just overseeing, but I actually physically do the work of it.
You not only save the court money, you save taxpayers' money.
Exactly.
That's who I represent.
But I can only do so much without making mistakes. I'm human, and when I have too much put on me, and that's why I was asking you all for help, when I have too much put on me, I can't oversee the occupational tax, and I can't oversee some of the things because I'm constantly, I've had auditors over there for 3 weeks, and they're going to be here another week. When they're here, it's hard for me to pull away and do the payroll and do all the things that I have to do normally because I'm at their beck and call, and I have to get them whatever they need the whole time they are here. And you've seen over there, Greg, how much stuff is out. I mean, we have our whole area full of books and stuff, pulling stuff for the auditors. And then when we have open enrollment, That's on top of my normal duties. When we have the budget come in April through June, I do that stuff on top of the everyday stuff I do every day. You know, there's no director in any of these that do their own payroll. They have somebody do their payroll.
You know, we got one of the best treasurer's departments, and I don't know everything they do, but I do trust them. When they say they need help, I believe them. And
Thank you, Billy.
based on what some surrounding governments are doing, you can justify adding another person.
And I welcome any of y'all to come over anytime, sit with us all day long, see what we do. See the phone calls that come
It's
in.
kind of ridiculous for a $37 million budget with 225 employees to be run by 3.5 people. Plus, we're taking care of the sheriff, the clerk, the utility districts, 911, open enrollment, payroll. I mean, she needs 6 or 7.
And I can tell you some of the changes that's happened. Used to, when former treasurers had it, they didn't audit the bills. They got a bill in from the health insurance company and they just wrote out a check for it. And it didn't matter if we actually had the money in there from the employees to pay it. They just wrote it out. When a bill comes into our office, we audit every bit of it to the penny. You can ask Jerry, Kenny. We tell you all, if there's not enough money in there that's been brought over from the payrolls, the state didn't send us enough money, we've got it to the penny. We know that we've got that money sitting in there to pay that. That takes a lot of time. You're talking about 250-something people on a health insurance bill, making sure that every penny that came out of their paycheck has come to us to pay that health insurance bill.
I know
It's a
you
lot of work.
loaded with the work, and I don't have a problem with having another employee. The only thing I do, and it sticks out to me, and nobody else may not have that problem, but if we can't contact the previous employee and we put them in the treasury department, I mean, it just, to me, that sticks out as a red flag in the interview that, we need to know why we can't contact your employee.
She don't want to lose her job, Greg.
Yeah, but I mean, I would be happy to get a statement from her employer telling you. I would be happy to do that.
Okay, Glenna,
He
let's
would
just let go. I'll put it back on the agenda and you bring her in the next court meeting and let her talk to her.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
All right, resolution agreement, Kentucky Transportation Flex Funds. This is flex funding through rural secondary money. The governor started this 3 years ago, where he allows money that's designated for state highways to be used on county roads. We've been fighting with this for 2 or 3 months and finally got it approved. And it looks like Boone Trail, Three Forks Road, Boone Trail, John Ballard Road, Morn Summit Road, Cedar Cliff Road, Gum Bottom Road, and we did a lot of distance on this. You all have looked at this, everybody's agreed to it. We just now got the agreement. So if there are no questions, the motion be in order to approve the agreement between Kentucky Transportation and the county, perform resurfacing on various county roads, $332,000 out of the rural secondary fund.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next, home incarceration program. Michelle's sick today. She couldn't be here. She has asked, she's written in a letter. She's really overwhelmed. She's got Josh Aldridge who's been helping her, and he's really looking at maybe something else. He's kind of really running the show. He's doing an excellent job, and Michelle asked if indeed we could hire him full-time, that she would not need to hire any part-time, that those two could handle the program. So I've talked to you all about this a little bit. More than he's working part-time now and has been since the inception of the program. So if there's no question, a motion be in order to hire Joshua Aldridge at $11 an hour as a full-time home incarceration employee.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Trick or treat, we just do this along with the two cities, October 31st, 2012 from 6 to 8 o'clock. That way we don't have people in one city and out in the county. So we've already approved this, but we're going to do a motion to approve 6 to 8 on the 31st.
So move.
Second.
Pastor King,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Hughes.
Yes.
Pastor Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Judge's report, Kirksville Days was last week. They had a really good crowd down there. Spoon Bread Festival was just jam-packed. They just did an excellent job down there. I can't say enough. And the CSEP exercise was excellent. Nothing but rave reviews on that. That's all I've got in the judge's report. We'll go on to comments from department heads. Any department heads?
Come on, Lee.
Leroy?
Not on there, about half of it. And the gum bottom's not either. Cedar Cliff starts at gum bottom, then goes on.
I didn't go from mile point to mile point.
Yeah, but I just wanted to, I didn't want to think they was gonna get gum bottom and missed out.
Well,
I just wanted to clear
we're
that
getting some more money, so
Yeah.
we'll look at it.
So that other money, I brought Three Forks on out. But, I just want to clear that up.
Okay, thanks, Leroy. Any other department heads? Not comments from magistrates, Craig?
I was at the Kirksville Day. They had me on the Dunkin' booth.
I saw you.
So I stayed in the water more than I did outside.
Was
But
it hot water?
No, it was cold. But anyway, it was a good turnout, and the people in the community seemed like they had a good time. Fundraiser for fire department. Plus, you know, the community getting together. And it seems like that ought to be something we ought to maybe strive on more and more in all of our locations. But went down and looked at the road at Arbuckle. Looks like Leroy and them's doing a good job getting it closer. So appreciate them for that. And other than that, that's all. Thank you.
Roger?
I don't have much, just let everybody know that the ferry is still operating, and we're still working on getting a new paddle boat. Red tape and restrictions has been awful tough on us, so we haven't come through yet with it, but we're still working on it.
Okay, Bill Ray?
I'd like to welcome Leadership Madison County. I see Christy Waco girls made it big. I want to tell you, that's where I got my start, was Leadership Madison County, and here I sit right now. So hope you enjoy the day. You got to see a pretty lively court meeting. So welcome y'all.
Larry?
Well, I too want to welcome y'all. It's good to see you, and I'm glad you're involved in what you are. Judge, I had the pleasure last Tuesday to meet with the Rotary Club there in Berea. It's a large organization. I got to speak to them, and it surprised me how much they knew about county government and how involved that they want to be with county government. And I thought it was very nice. And they gave me a little token, and it says the 4-way test, and I would hope this court could live up to that. I sure hope I can. It says, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? We will build goodwill and better friendships. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? It's 4 good things to live by. I know I mentioned it to Billy, and Billy said, I wish I could live up to that. I hope I can. Other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
Glad you're here, Larry. Comments from the audience, anybody? If not, motion to pay the claims, approve the transfers.
So move.
Second.
Pastor King,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Hughes.
Yes.
Pastor Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Motion to adjourn. Mindy, I think we're going to the municipal building in Berea. And, everybody knows where that is. We have any problems? Everybody got a ride?
Stay second.
We'll be there in
Yes.
short.
Stay second.
You're the second.